Hello! My name is Leon. Welcome to another reading of the Elder Scrolls. Today we're going to be reading Feyfolken, Book 1 by Wagen Jarth. Indeed. This is Wagen Jarth, also noted for writing A Dance in Fire, which we read, and the sequel to A Dance in Fire, which I think we've actually read, right? I don't think so. Wait, did we? Wait, hang on. Stop everything. Did we read that already? I don't think so. How was even... Oh God, I did not realize it was 7 chapters, that book. You know what? I think the book's not in this game. Oh! It's not in this game. Oh! Really? At least in Oblivion. Oh. What's the name of the book? I don't know. Awesome. Well, let's get started on Feyfolken because this is a long book. Yeah, recently we've been reading some short ass books of late. Hang on, I do need to look this up though. I need to know. You don't need to know. Just get on with it. Oh, a dance. That's it. A dance in fire. Why are you not zoomed in? Zoom in, bitch. Beep. And then you will find book 2. The Argonian Account. There you are. Which is a book in Oblivion Scale. Ah. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. What other books is Wagen Jarth written? Well, he's written these 3. Great. Wagen Jarth. Oh god, there's a few. Okay, so we got the Argonian Account, which is a 4-parter. The Asylum Ball, Dance in Fire, which is a 7-parter. Oh, he wrote The Wolf Queen, which is an 8-parter. Feyfolken 1, 2, and 3. The Exodus and Purloined Shadows. Oh. Well, there you go. Anyway, Feyfolken, Book 1, by Wagen Jarth. The great sage was a tall and tiny man, bearded but bald. His library resembled him. All the books had been moved over the years to the bottom shelves, where they gathered in dusty conglomerations. He used several of the books in his current lecture, explaining to his students, Taskim and Voldrock, how the Mages Guild had first been founded by Vanus Galarian. They had many questions about Galarian's beginnings in the Psijic Order, and how the study of magic there differed from the Mages Guild. It was and is a very structured way of life, explained the great sage. Quite elitist, actually. That was the aspect of it Galarian most objected to. He wanted to study the magics to be free. Well, not free exactly, but at least available to all who could afford it. In doing that, he changed the course of life in Tamriel. Who the fuck? Who's this? Volderak? Who's Volderak? Is that an orc? I don't know. There's two people. I can't do voices. I suck at voices. Do it. Alright. I've only got like 2-3 voices that I can actually use. You know that, right? I know. He codified the praxis and rituals used by your modern potion makers, item makers, and spell makers. Did any great sage? Asked, how do you say his name? Vonguldak. That's totally an orc. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. That was only part of it. Magic as we know it today comes from Vanus Galarian. He reconstructed the schools to be understandable by the masses. He invented the tools of alchemy and enchanting so everyone could concoct whatever they wanted, whatever their skills and purse would allow them to, without fears of magical backfire. Well, eventually he created that. God damn it. I need this guy to be the nerd and the other one to be the... I'll do a dark voice, a deep voice for the other guy. A dark voice? No, a deep voice. The dark voice would be like, anyway. What do you mean, great sage? Asked Tuckson. Tuckson? The first tools were more automated than the ones we have today. Any layman could use them without the least understanding of enchantment and alchemy. On the Isle of Atum, the students had to learn the skills laboratories, and over many years, but Guardian decided that there was another example. That was another example of the Citic's elitism. The tools he invented were like robotic master enchanters, and alchemists capable of creating anything the customer required, provided he could pay. So someone... I don't have any other voices. Ooh. What if it was a girl? No, I don't want to do girl voice. Okay. Well, so someone could, for example, create a sword that would cleave the world in twain. Your British accent. So someone could, for example, create a sword that will cleave the world in twain. That's your English voice? Yeah, sure. It's Voldak. I suppose in theory, but it would probably take all the gold in the world. Chuckled the great sage. No, I can't say we were ever in very great danger. But that it isn't to say that there weren't a few unfortunate incidents where an unschooled yokel invented something beyond his kin. Eventually, of course, Galleon tore apart his old tools and created what we use today. It's a little elitist, requiring that people know what they're doing before they actually do it, but remarkably practical. What did people invent? Asked Tuxum. Are there any stories? You're trying to distract me. Wait, yes. You're trying to distract me so I don't test you, said the great sage. But I suppose I can tell you one story, just to illustrate a point. This particular tale takes place in the city of Alanur, in the west coast. Where's it south from? I don't know. So, in the west coast of Somerset Isle, and concerns a scribe named Thabard. This was in the Second Era, not long after Vanna's Galarian had first founded the Mages Guild, and chapter houses had sprung up all over Somerset, though not yet spread to the mainland of Tamriel. For 5 years this scribe, Thurbad, had constructed all his correspondence to the outside world by way of his messenger boy, Gorgus. For the first year of his adoption of the hermit life, his few remaining friends and family of his dead wife, truth be told, had tried visiting, but even the most infectable kin gives up eventually when given no encouragement. His voice is disappearing. Anyway. No one had a good reason to keep in touch with Thurbad, and in time very few even tried. His sister-in-law sent him the occasional letter with news of people he could barely remember, but even that communication was rare. Most of messages to and from his house dealt with his business, writing the weekly proclamation of the Temple of Ariel. These were bulletins nailed to the temple door, community news, sermons, that sort of thing. The first message Gorgas brought him... Wait. Is that alright? Is that alright? The first message Gorgas brought him that day was from his healer, reminding him of his appointment on Turdus. Thurbad took a while to write his response, glum and furtive. He had the Crimson Plague, which he was being treated for at a considerable expense. Yet remember that these were days before the School of Restoration had become quite so specialized. It It was a dreadful disease and had taken away his voice box. That was why he only communicated by script. The next message was from officers. Officers? That's right. It's like potion makers. The secretary of the church, as curt and noxious as ever. Though bad. Attached is Sanders' sermon, next week's events calendar, and the obituaries. Try to liven them up a bit. A little. Yeah. I wasn't happy with your last attempt. Thurman had taken the job of putting together the bulletin before Atticus joined the temple. So his only mental image of her was purely theoretical, and had evolved over time. Wait, what? I think that's the person's name. Oh, it is. Arpheus is the name of a person. There are a lot of names that end in S. I'm trying to think. Thomas? Okay. Any other? I don't know. Maybe. I'm sure there are, but I get what you're saying. Especially when Thomas is like, the way you say Thomas, it doesn't sound like it's a plural of anything, but that kind of looks like it's a plural. Especially when it's E-I-S. That is true. I'll give you that. Fair enough. Sorry, where was I? The image of her was purely theoretical and had evolved over time. At first he thought of officers as an ugly fat slowness covered with warts. More recently she had mutated into a rail-thin spinster orcress. Orcess? Female orc? Sure. Of course, it was possible his clairvoyance was accurate and she had just lost weight. Sure. What Ephesus looked like, her attitude toward Thurbad. Whatever Ephesus looked like, her attitude toward Thurbad was clear. Unwavering disdain. She hated his sense of humor. Always found the most minor of misspellings and considered his structure and calligraphy the worst kind of amateur work. Luckily, working for a temple was the next most secure job to working for the good king of Alinor. It didn't bring in very much money. This voice is going all over the shop. Shut up. I'm noticing that it's turning into like nerdy geek guy. I need to get back to fucking Decade Kane. It didn't bring in very much money, but his expenses were minimal. The truth was, he didn't need to do it anymore. He had quite a fortune stashed away, but he didn't have anything else to occupy his days. And the truth was further that, having little else to occupy his time and thoughts, the bulletin was very important to him. How many more pages are there? Holy shit. Oh man, okay. Keep going. Gorgas, having delivered... Oh wait, sorry. Gorgas, having delivered all the messages, began to clean and as he did so, he told Thurbad all the news in town. The boy always did so, and Thurbad seldom paid him any attention. But this time he had an interesting report. The Mages' Guild had come to Alinor. As Thurbad listened intently, Gorgas told him all about the guild, the remarkable Archmagister, and the incredible tools of alchemy and enchanting. Finally, when the lad had finished, Thurbad scribbled a quick note and handed it on a quill to Gorgas. The note read, "Have them enchant this quill." Oh god, now the voices. Damn it. "It'll be expensive," said Gorgas. Wait, said Gorgas. Right, and this is so weird because this whole story has to be read through the voice of, what's the guy's name? The Great Sage. I'm no longer narrating anymore. It's all the Great Sage narration. Wait, we're going too far? You have. Thorobad gave Gyros a sizable chunk of the thousands of gold pieces he had saved up over the years and sent him out the door. Now, Thorobad decided he would finally have the ability to impress Ephesus and bring glory to the Temple of Irony. Oh, I see. He wants a magical pen that writes really good poetically stuff. Sure. but is he like blind? Can he not actually see the person? Well, I think he can't speak, so I think he just like communicates by letter and not actually. Yeah, sure. Anyway, moving on. Sorry. The way I've heard the story. Wait, who's talking? It's still the old man. Okay. The way I've heard the story, Gorgas had thought about taking the gold and leaving Eleanor, but he had come to care for the poor old Thorobad, and even more, he hated Ephesus, who he had to see every day to get his messages for his master. It wasn't perhaps the best of motivations, but Gorgas decided to go to the guild and get the quill enchanted. The Mages Guild was not then, especially... Wait, Mages Guild was not then, especially not then. It's a weird way of saying things, but whatever. Was not then, especially not then, an elitist institution, as I have said. But when the messenger boy came in and asked to use the item maker, he was greeted with some suspicion. When he showed the bag of gold, the attitude melted, and he was ushered in the room. My voice is totally gold. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Now, I haven't seen one of the enchanting tools of old, so you must use your imagination. There was a large prism for the item to be brought with magicka. Assuredly... Wait. To be bound with magicka, assuredly. And an assortment of soul gems and globes of trapped energies. Other than that, I cannot be certain how it looked or how it worked, because of all the gold he gave to the guild. Gorgas could have used the quill with the highest price soul available, which was something Daedric called Feyfolken. Oh, it's the name of the... Feyfolken's the name of the soul gem. Let me see. The initiate of the gold, being ignorant, as most guild members were at the time, did not know very much about the spirit, except that it was filled with energy. When Gorgas left the room, the quill had been enchanted to its very limit, and then some. How can it... Don't worry about it. It was virtually quivering with power. Of course, when Thorobad used it, that's when it became clear how over his head he was. And now, said the great sage, it's time for your test. But what happened? What were the quill's powers? cried Texan. You can't stop the tail there, objected Blogjack. We'll continue the tale after your conjuration test, provided you both perform exceptionally well, said the great sage. Wow. I'm on the edge of my seat. My voice is fucking destroyed. Well, that was Feyfolken Book 1 by Wagon Jouth. When we come back, we'll read Book 2. But for now, my name's Lou, and I'll see you next time.